We've seen an alarming increase in accidental deaths, escalating what experts are now terming an accident crisis, demanding immediate and comprehensive action. I must say, I am part of this situation. I've fallen over three times in the last year. Twice because I was pushed over by bikes on the pavement. Once because I slipped on wet leaves at a pavement crossing. And and I have to think, well, surely there's a law against riding a bike on the pavement. And I spoke to people last week as I was walking down down into town. I spoke to people who were on bikes. I stopped one man who got quite irritated and said he didn't want to have an argument with me, but it was too unsafe to ride his bike on the road. And one lady actually stopped me. She recognized me in the street. She was riding her bike on the pavement, and she said that she'd had a hip replacement, and again it was too dangerous to ride her bike on the road. In her favour, I must point out that she rode her bike very slowly, unlike the younger boys, the 20-year-old people who charge down the Clifton Road without a thought for anybody who happens to be walking there. And they come up behind you and knock you off your feet, literally. Ring their bell and assume that they have right of way. They don't. They shouldn't even be on the pavement. It's an indulgence to allow them there. As for the leaves, well, it's autumn. I recognise leaves are everywhere, but at points where the pavement gives way to the road at a crossing point, there shouldn't be leaves, and the council should make a point of ensuring that there aren't wet leaves in those spaces. Because I almost tumbled into the road. Only the last minute did I manage to sort of push myself onto the pavement at serious expense to the health of my hand and arm, which are still recovering. The Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents, there is such a thing, reports that the number of accidental deaths has surged by 42% over the past decade, making an all-time high with over 20,000 fatalities annually. And these figures reveal that accidents are now the leading cause of preventable death for individuals under 40, surpassing other health crises in severity and frequency. And it doesn't help that if somebody falls off a roof onto a concrete base, when you call the ambulance, you're left waiting and told to take a paracetamol. That happened in my house. The data underscores the domestic sphere as the most perilous, with over half of those fatal accidents occurring in the home. The narrative of Brian Whitnell, a 50-year-old sales manager who suffered a grievous accident while mowing his lawn, exemplifies the unpredictable and sudden nature of these accidents, of these incidents, and his experience, which resulted in the permanent loss of 2 toes and significant time off work, highlights both the physical and economic repercussions that individual accidents can impose. Hospital admissions for severe injuries due to accidents have risen by 48% over the past 2 decades in England alone, with over 740,000 people admitted in 2022 to 2023. The toll is not just medical but economic, costing the NHS an estimated £6 billion annually and UK businesses approximately £5.9 billion in lost productivity. And this financial strain is compounded by the 29 million working days lost because of accident-related injuries, dwarfing the impact of industrial strikes. Falls represent nearly half of all accidental deaths, followed by poisoning at 26% and road traffic accidents at 7%. The geographical spread of this crisis is notable, with Scotland seeing a 60% rise in accidental deaths, Northern Ireland 67%, Wales 42%, and England close to 40%. The Chief Executive of this Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents, Becky Hickman, calls for urgent government intervention through a national accident prevention strategy. Such a strategy could mitigate the cascading consequences that accidents have on individuals and national infrastructure, freeing NHS resources, bolstering the economy by preventing lost productivity. And Hickman emphasises that these are avoidable incidents, necessitating a proactive, comprehensive approach to education, safety regulations, public awareness to stem the tide of the crisis. When it comes to the bikes on the road, we have two councils in Rugby. I called the first council, the local council. They referred me to the county council, the Warwickshire County Council, who were slightly indifferent on the phone and said, "We'll call the police." And that took me most of the afternoon. What is the point? Without targeting measures, the dual impact of preventable death and economic disruption will continue to escalate, straining both public health systems and the nation's economic resilience. The stark data and the personal accounts serve as a clarion call. Action is imperative to safeguard lives and sustain national stability in this mounting crisis. We have to do something. We have to ensure that when accidents happen, there's help. At the moment, there often isn't help. And people suffer. People suffer grievously and terminally because the help isn't there.